So I put up a community post asking for your unpopular Dragon Ball opinions or hot takes, Dragon Ball opinions that would have you like this. And I got some interesting responses, so I'm gonna do this response video reacting to those and give some of my own hot takes and unpopular opinions. But if you guys like this type of content, then be sure to leave a comment below. Maybe I'll do another one. And don't forget to smash the thumbs up button and subscribe as well. But here we go with my first hot take, which is I think that the Shin Budokai games were better than the PS2 Budokai games. The Shin Budokai games were PSP releases, so what helps is that you could take it all around with you on the go and play it anywhere in the world. And it was just so fun to play. It felt more smooth. I put more time and effort into it, but it's just all down to personal preference, of course. I just personally enjoyed the Shin Budokai games more than the PS2 Budokai games. Not to say that the PS2 Budokai games are bad or anything, it's just that I enjoyed Shin Budokai way more. The PS2 Budokai games are goated, by the way. Legendary games, trailblazers, pioneers, but I love Shin Budokai more. Now here's a hot take from one of you guys. Customs says... Customs says, I like Revenge of King Piccolo more than most of the Dragon Ball fighting games. I actually haven't played Revenge of King Piccolo, but I've seen gameplay of it and it looks really, really fun. I hope it gets a remaster or something. For those who don't know, Revenge of King Piccolo was on the Wii, I believe, so if you didn't have a Wii, then I don't think you could have played it, unless I guess you could emulate it, but I'm not sure about that. But I would definitely love more non-fighting Dragon Ball games. I think that Kakarot did a brilliant job, and I would like to see more games like that in future. Brady Tyler says, Legends is the best of all modern Dragon Ball games. That's funny, because I actually, out of all the modern Dragon Ball games, let's say every game that's come out in the last 5 years or so, Legends is probably the one. Okay, not 5 years, we didn't get that many games in 5 years, but Legends is the one that I've spent the most time on, out of all of them combined, probably. I played it more than Xenoverse 2, more than Fighters, more than Xenoverse 1, dating back to probably Raging Blast. Raging Blast I could make an argument for, because I spent a lot of time on Raging Blast 2 specifically. But the thing with Legends is it's a mobile game, right? So you can access it at any time at the palm of your hand. So there's definitely more incentive to play it more. And I definitely think that Legends is a good game. It has its faults, it has its ups and downs like most games. But as a whole, for the most part, Legends is a good game. I enjoy the gameplay, even though sometimes it can get annoying and toxic with certain characters, certain players. But the gameplay is good. It's very accurate. There's specific characters from specific moments in the game. It appeals to historians, those players who like specific moments from specific parts of the series, if that makes sense. Graphics are amazing, gameplay is fun. It has its own unique story, which is cool, with its own unique characters. And what else is there to say? If you haven't tried Legends out, I suggest you give it a try. It's a mobile game, so you can download it on your phone. Caleb says, for some reason this is a hot take, but Raging Blast 2 is better than, I'm assuming he's saying is better than everything. And you know what? I can see this. I'm not gonna disagree, and I'll tell you why. Because Raging Blast 2 is in my top 3 Dragon Ball games of all time. the only other game that I've put more time into than Raging Blast 2, other than Legends, which is a mobile game, so I'm removing that from the equation, is Budokai Tenkaichi 3. And Budokai Tenkaichi 3 is considered the GOAT by almost everyone. And Raging Blast 2 has even better gameplay than Budokai Tenkaichi 3. And this isn't a hot take at all, but the Budokai Tenkaichi 3 players need to realize that the Raging Blast games are more or less the same. It's just minor tweaks, minor differences. And Raging Blast 2, if it had a better roster, you know, like with GT characters, for example, because Super didn't exist back then, and it had a story mode and some more gameplay modes, then Raging Blast 2 would actually be the GOAT. It would overtake Budokai Tenkaichi 3. That might be a hot take, but I agree with this hot take that Raging Blast 2 is better than other things, even though there could be slight argument there. But let's move on to the next one. And this one says, easy. Budokai Tenkaichi 3 is the worst game to exist. This is not an opinion I have, just want to be able to say something, Law. You saved yourself there at the end, because if people saw you saying that, they would probably like start a riot or something, you know. Budokai Tenkaichi 3 is the holy grail of Dragon Ball games, not even close. Like, anyone who's everyone will tell you that this is the best, and those who don't say that probably don't know ball, probably started playing Dragon Ball games in like, I don't know, 2015 or something. But yeah, this game is, I don't want to say overrated, but it's highly regarded in the fandom. Like, if you insult this game, it's like you're insulting someone's mother. So I would suggest that you lay off all of that. And finally, another hot take from me, which is, I think that Xenoverse 2 and Fighters are overrated F. Now, I don't mean that these are bad games, because I definitely do think that Xenoverse 2 and Fighters are good games. Even Xenoverse 1, I enjoyed Xenoverse 1 more than 2 actually, but that's a video for another day. The problem I have with Xenoverse 2 is the DLC, because what else would I have with it? Without the DLC, the base game alone, you can actually like spend a lot of time. There's a lot to do in the game. The thing that ruins Xenoverse 2 for me is the DLC, you know, all these DLC packs. Like, I find it very annoying and very costly, and you know what, it's very smart in their part, but I don't agree with it personally. I find it unethical, and that's one of the things that made me stop playing Xenoverse 2, because I'm just tired of spending money and buying DLC packs. The last DLC pack that I bought was probably the Super Saiyan God Vegeta and Super Saiyan God Evolved. Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, excuse me, Evolved Vegeta. I stopped playing Xenoverse 2 after that. Good game gameplay wise and everything else, but the DLC single-handedly leaves a bad taste in my mouth for Xenoverse 2, and I can't in good conscience put it up there with some of the more highly rated Dragon Ball games in general. As for Fighters, I do think it's a really good game, but I don't think it's a good Dragon Ball game, if that makes sense. It's a good fighting game, but I don't know, it doesn't capture the essence of Dragon Ball enough for me. Aesthetically, sure, it does. It looks beautiful, and I actually had a lot of fun playing Fighters, but Fighters is a fighting game at heart, and like, you have to like be sort of professional to get really good at it, and that's annoying, because like I feel like Dragon Ball fans are not really fighting games fanatics, you know, fighting game professionals. They don't have time to be doing all of this. They just want to shoot Kamehamehas and beam clashes and all that stuff, you know. So Fighters, for what it is, I think it's a good game. I just don't think it's a good Dragon Ball game. and I find it a tad overrated because the story mode is horrible, and I'm a story guy. Even though, say what you want about Dragon Ball games in general, where the story is being retold 100 billion times. Fighters has a trash story and it's boring, and it really soured me on the entire game as a whole. But anyways guys, that was my Dragon Ball games hot takes. If you guys want to see me do another one, maybe I'll leave up another community post. But if you enjoyed this one, leave a like and smash the like button. Peace out.